Hello everyone, welcome to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 10th February 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we will be discussing today. The first article, Article 371, the article is taken from the newspaper The Hindu. The second article is about the Nuclear Liability Law 2010. The article is taken from the newspaper Hindu. The third article, the President Rule in Manipur. So in this topic, we will be discussing Article 356 and the imposition of President Rule and its impact. The article is taken from the newspaper Indian Express. And the fourth article, Local Content Rule for Wind Power. In this topic, we will be discussing the benefits of the wind energy and what are the initiatives taken from the government to ensure the development in the field of wind power sector. And this article is taken from the newspaper Live Mint. So without much delay, let's get into our newspaper discussion with the first article. In Pole-bound Meghalaya, a rat hole coal mining hopes ride on Article 371. Meghalaya, the state of Meghalaya is going for election. Ahead of election, the regional party, that is Voice of People's Party candidate, Mr. Garjana, said that bringing the state under the preview of Article 371 will help the state of Meghalaya to resume the rat hole coal mining, which was banned in the year 2014 through a Supreme Court verdict. So he compared the condition of Meghalaya with that of Nagaland. So he said that Nagaland has special provisions under Article 371A and at the same time sixth schedule of the Indian Constitution. And that's why the National Green Tribunal has certain limitation in interfering or controlling the small scale rat hole mining in the state of Nagaland. And he also said that in case, even though the state of Nagaland has special provisions under under 6th schedule, in case if there is any conflict between the district council and the state, then according to the paragraph 12A of the schedule, then the state law will prevail over that of the district council if there is any conflict. So the statement was made by Karjana, the candidate of Voice of the People Party. So in this background, we are going to see what is the Article 371 of the Indian Constitution and what is the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution and what are the provisions in it. So Article 371 of the Indian Constitution, which is in the part 21 of the Indian Constitution, it is talking about special provisions for certain states for its socio-economic development. For example, the state of Gujarat, Maharashtra, recently through the 98th Amendment in the year 2012, Karnataka was included under Article 371. So the Article 371 empowers the governor of the state to set up certain board for the developments and at the same time for creating more employment opportunities and the skill development of the people. So Article 371 of the Indian Constitution is looking for state level autonomy and empowering the state through various development programs and also gives certain special powers to the governor of the state. And Article 371 also grants special autonomy at the state level and it also ensures the preservation of tribal customs, religious practices and management of land and resources. And in this case, under Article 371, if the central makes any law, if it is concerned with the tribal practices or the religion or land, then it has to get the consent from the state as well. So these are the list of states specified under Article 371. Article 371 talks about Gujarat and Maharashtra, and Article 371A talks about the special provisions for Nagaland. Article 371B talks about Assam, 371C Manipur, and Article 371D talks about Andhra Pradesh, and since 2014 the provisions also extended to the state of Telangana. And Article 371E talks about Andhra Pradesh, and Article 371F talks about the special provisions for the Sikkim, and Article 371G talks about the special provisions for Mizoram, and H talks about Arunachal Pradesh, I talks about Goa, and finally we have Article 371J, which provides special provisions for the state of Karnataka, and this was included through the amendment of 98th Constitution Amendment in the year 2012. So the Article 371, like I mentioned, it grants state level autonomy, so special powers to the state for ensuring the development of tribes and to uphold the tribal rights, and provides special rights or responsibility to the governor of the state. For example, in the case of Gujarat and Maharashtra, the governor has the authority to establish the development board of Marathwada and Saurashtra for the development of these regions, and the central laws are applicable. If it is concerned with the tribal customs or practices, then it is applicable only once it gets the consent from the state. So these are the major provisions under Article 371. So coming to the Article 371A, which grants special provisions for the state of Nagaland. The first provision is, like I mentioned, the parliamentary laws needs state consent. If it is concerned with the socio-religious practices of Nagas, customary laws of Nagas, then the civil and criminal justice under the Naga laws, and the land and ownership transfer. For example, if you go to the northeastern states, especially in the tribal region, maybe 1 hectare land will have only 10,000 rupees, but you cannot purchase the land. A person from outside cannot purchase the land. So these are the restrictions that you will be facing under the special provisions of Article 371A, and it also grants special responsibility to the state of governor. The governor of the state will be responsible for the law and order in the area of Nagas, and if there is any disturbance in this region, then he can take an individual decision after consulting the Council of Ministers. So he can take an individual judgment or exercise after consulting the Council of Ministers. And coming to the second topic, that is a sixth schedule. So Article 371 gives state level autonomy, while the sixth schedule talks about the administration of tribal areas in the northeastern region, especially in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. So this is looking for protection of the tribal laws, tribal customs and the tribal rights, and this aims to protect culture, economic interest, and also empowers or encourages self-governance. And another feature of the sixth schedule is the autonomous district and regions. So it is under the article we have autonomous districts and regions in the state of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram, and autonomous regions can be created for different tribes for their own for protecting the different tribes' interest. And coming to the district and regional councils, each district has a district councils and region have regional councils, and this council consists of nearly 30 members, and out of the 30 members, 26 members will be elected and 4 will be nominated by the governor, and the chief executive member will be appointed by the governor, and the term of this council is 5 years. And coming to the legislative powers of the councils, it can make laws related to land, forest, except the reserved forest, water and agriculture, and also they can take pass laws based for the village administration and inheritance of property and all. And this requires assent from the governor. Then only this law will become effective. And the next is the judicial powers for the councils. So councils can establish court for tribal dispute, and it can handle both the civil and criminal cases based on the tribal customs. So next is the financial powers of the council. So the council can collect tax, for example land tax, property tax and tolls, and this fund can be used for the development and their own welfare. And what is the role of the governor in this council? So like I mentioned in the beginning, so governor has great responsibility in the areas of Nagas when we talked about the Article 371A, right? So here also the governor has a great role, especially the governor oversees the functioning of this council. He appoints and he removes the members and dissolves the councils in case if there is any problem, and also manages election to this council. And governor enjoys great discretionary power, especially in the councils in the state of Mizoram and Tripura, except in portfolios related to taxation. So this is the role of governor. Now we are going to see what is the key difference between the sixth schedule and the Article 371A of the Indian Constitution. So first is the level of autonomy. Like I mentioned in the beginning, Article 371 talks about the state level autonomy. That means here the entire state has autonomy, and if there is, the state will protect the tribal rights. But in the case of the sixth schedule, the district council has great autonomy. That is, autonomous district council has great authority. So it is, we are taking here, we can say that the sixth schedule is more, it is giving more autonomy and power to specific tribes. So we can say in that sense it is more inclusive. And coming to the legislative powers, the sixth schedule. So under the sixth schedule, the autonomous district councils legislate on specific subjects. For example, we saw that they can make laws related to their customs, their rights, their taxation and all. So, and that requires the assent from the governor. But under the Article 371 of the Indian Constitution, the state legislature will decide, if a central law is concerned with the tribal issues in the state, then the state legislature has the power to decide whether they have to implement the law or not. And coming to the administrative structure between the district council or between the sixth schedule and the Article 371. The sixth schedule is more decentralized, it's standing for more decentralized governance with the district councils handling the executive and the judicial role. But here it is not like that. So under Article 371 of the Indian Constitution, the state level governance with the special provisions for the tribal rights. So simply we can say that the sixth schedule is giving more autonomy to the to the regions, while the Article 371 is talking about the state level autonomy. So under Article 371, the state has more authority. For example, if the central government is passing any law concerned with any tribal issues in a particular state, for example, if the central government is passing a law concerned with a tribe in Andhra Pradesh, then the state of Andhra Pradesh has a right to decide whether they have to implement the law or not. But in the case of the sixth schedule, for example, we have a district council in the state of Nagaland called Tuangsang. So this is a 30-member district council in the state of Nagaland. So under Article 6 schedule of the Indian Constitution, this Tuangsang has the authority to decide matters concerned with their customs, their land, property, taxation, their development and welfare. So simply the Article 371 grants state level autonomy, while 6th schedule grants autonomy at the regional level through autonomous district council and autonomous regional council. And in both cases, the governor plays a great role. That means the governor will be the in charge to oversee the functioning of that area. For example, in the case of under Article 371, we saw that the Gujarat and Maharashtra, the governor has the authority to establish Maratha board, Marathawada board and Saurashtra board to ensure the development of these backward regions. And in the case of sixth schedule, the governor will be the in charge to oversee the functioning of the district council or the regional councils. So these are the major difference between the sixth schedule and Article 371. I hope you understand. And now it's time to see a prelims practice question. The question is, which of the following statements regarding the sixth schedule of the Indian Constitution is or are correct? Statement 1, the sixth schedule provides for the administration of tribal areas in the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. And statement 2, it establishes autonomous district councils with the legislative powers on specified subjects. And statement 3, the provisions of the sixth schedule are applicable to all tribal areas across India. So the correct answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. It is not applicable to all tribal areas across India. It is applicable to the tribal areas in the state of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. It is not concerned with the tribal areas across India. So the statement 3 is incorrect. Statement 1 and 2 are correct. So with this, we will move to the next article. Local content rule for wind power soon. The article is taken from the newspaper Live Mint. So the article is talking about the government's plan to encourage the wind power sector to go for domestic manufacturing rather than importing goods from other countries, especially from China. And you can see this plan of the government is aligning with the National Manufacturing Mission, which was launched in the financial budget for the financial year 2026. And we know that India is committed to a lot of goals, especially the green goal, that is net zero 2070, and we are committed to the Vikasit Bharat 2047. So here plays the important role of energy security, because energy security is very important for economic development as well as social welfare. And the wind energy has a great potential in the future because it is eco-friendly, it is an alternative to the fossil fuel, and at the same time it reduces the greenhouse gas. It is a primary reason behind the global warming, right? So it has a great opportunity and potential for ensuring a better future. So in this background, we are going to see what is this wind energy and what are the initiatives taken by the government to encourage the wind power generation in India. So coming to the introduction to the wind energy, it is a renewable source of energy. It is eco-friendly and it converts the kinetic energy of the wind into electricity. So here you can see a picture of a windmill, and it is sustainable and alternative to the fossil fuel. So that means it was available in the past, it is available in the present, and it will be available in the future as well. And it reduces the greenhouse gas emission. We know that greenhouse gas, it is a primary reason behind the global warming, and it contributes to the global energy security. Like I mentioned, through reducing the dependence on fossil fuel. Fossil fuel is a primary reason behind the global warming and other environmental issues, right? So we can reduce the dependence on the fossil fuel. We can reduce the greenhouse gas emission. So that's, and it also provides an alternative source of energy. So through this, the wind energy contributes to the global energy security. And coming to the mechanism behind the wind energy. So the wind turbine will capture the wind and with the help of the rotating blade. So here this picture you can see that here it is known as the hub. This is a hub of the windmill, and this is the rotor blade. And with the help of this blade, the windmill will capture the wind, and it will transform the kinetic energy into electricity. So the what will happen that the turbine, the blade will run a generator inside the windmill, and that will produce the electricity. So simply it is a physics, that means converting the kinetic energy into electricity. So that is how the wind energy is working. And coming to the global wind energy landscape, the major contributor of the wind energy in the world are USA, China and India. And India, our current capacity is 42 gigawatt, and we are expecting an addition of 5 gigawatt capacity in this financial year as well. And who are the leading nations in the wind energy generation? Germany, USA, Denmark, Spain and India. They collectively contribute to nearly 80% of the global installed wind capacity. And the next is wind farms. So wind farms refers to a group of turbines on for large scale electricity generation. So these are located in both offshore and onshore. So based on that, we can we can classify the wind farms into two types, generally offshore and onshore. So offshore wind farms are located in water bodies. So the benefits of this offshore wind farms are availability of strong winds. Large turbines can be used for high electricity generation, and less disruption. That means in the ocean you can you always the wind is available, and higher efficiency. And coming to the onshore wind farms, it is located in land, and it is installation cost is very low, and it is very close to the proximity of the consumers, and the installation is also time saving. But in the case of in the water, it will take long time to install. And coming to the wind energy in India, so the manufacturing capacity, like I mentioned, the current manufacturing capacity is 42 gigawatt, and we are expecting an addition of 5 gigawatt in this financial year. And globally, we are standing at the capacity of fourth. And the indigenous manufacturing capacity, as per the estimation, is 10,000 megawatt per year, and the installed capacity is just 39.25 gigawatt by March 2021. And offshore wind potential. Offshore wind potential, we know that India has an extensive coastline of 7,600 kilometer. So we have a capacity of 127 gigawatt from this offshore itself. And the wind potential, so at the if the hub height is 100 meter. So what is this hub height? The hub height refers to the distance between the hub and the ground. So this is the hub height. If the hub height is above 100 meter, then we can generate up to 300 gigawatt of energy. And the major potential of the wind energy is concentrated in 7 major states in India, that is Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. So in this picture you can see the major wind spots in India. So Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, West Bengal, and the south, that is in Tamil Nadu, in the state of in the district of Kanyakumari. Coming to the advantages of the wind energy, it is a renewable source of energy. That means it will not be perished in the near future, but that is not the case of fossil. And the next is eco-friendly. That means the pollution from the wind energy is very less comparing with the fossil fuel or traditional source of energy. And the next is cost efficient. That means the installation cost is very less, especially in the case of onshore installation. And enhances energy security through providing an alternative source of energy. We can reduce the capacity dependence on fossil fuel. Thus, it enhances the global energy security. Efficient land use, scalable, and creates employment. So these are the benefits of the wind energy. Coming to the certain government initiatives to promote the wind energy, that the first one is repowering policy of 2016, which is looking for the modernization of the wind turbines. So it is an incentive program, that is the investors will get incentives if they are going for modernization. And the next is guidance for the disposal of fabric reinforced plastics. So these are the materials used in the windmill or in the wind sector. So what happens is that this has a potential to generate pollution. So this guidelines is looking for installation of the implementation of the effective waste management to manage this solid waste. And the next is the hybrid policy, that is wind solar hybrid policy, which was launched in the year 2018, which is looking for the optimized use of the wind energy and the resource. That means reducing the wastage. And the next is offshore wind energy policy 2015, that is looking for the establishment of the wind mills in the special economic zone along the coastline. So like I mentioned, the offshore wind farms has great potential to generate energy comparing with the onshore wind farms. And the next is wind energy and the Panchamrit goals. Panchamrit goals are the goals which India committed to achieve the net zero 2070. So under this, the government is aiming for 500 gigawatt non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030 and 50% energy generation from the renewable source by 2030. So these are the important goals under the Panchamrit target. So with this, we will discuss a prelim practice question. The question is, which of the following states together contribute over 90% of India's wind energy capacity? 1. Gujarat, 2. Tamil Nadu, C. Maharashtra, 4. Andhra Pradesh, and 5. Odisha. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Option A 1, 2, 3 and 4 only. Option B 2, 3, 4 and 5 only. Option C 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 only. And option D 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The correct answer is option A 1, 2, 3 and 4 only. So with this, we will move to the next article. President's rule may be next for Manipur. The article is taken from the newspaper Indian Express. Followed by the resignation of Mr. N. Biren Singh, the Chief Minister of Manipur, there is a political vacuum in the state, and the Bharatiya Janata Party Central Board also asked for some time for the replacement of N. Biren Singh with a new person. And we know that the state of Manipur was going through ethnical violence in the last 2 years. And in this background, there is a possibility of imposition of president rule under Article 356 in the state. So in this background, we are going to discuss more about the president rule from the prelims point of view. President rule, it refers to the imposition of central rule in the state under Article 356 of the Indian Constitution, and it is also known as state emergency or constitutional emergency. And once it is implemented, it enables the president to assume both the executive and the legislative powers of a state. And coming to the constitutional provisions related to the president rule, first we have Article 356 of the Indian Constitution. Ground for imposition based on president's satisfaction about the breakdown of constitutional machinery in the state. That means if the president is satisfied that from the report of a governor, or otherwise if he is satisfied that the function of the state cannot be carried out in accordance with the Constitution of India, then he can implement the Article 356, that is president rule. But the president rule now is subject to the judicial review. And next we have Article 365 of the Indian Constitution, which says that states' failure to comply with the union directives can also lead to the imposition of president rule. That means if the state is not acting according to the directions of the union government in certain cases, then that will also lead to imposition of the president rule. And coming to the grounds for the imposition of the president rule, first one is the breakdown of the constitutional machinery. That means if the state cannot function according to the constitution, then there is a possibility of imposition of Article 356, and failure to comply with the union directives under Article 365 can also lead to president rule. And the governor's report, the governor is reporting to the president of India that the state function cannot be carried out in accordance with the constitution, or if there is a failure of the functioning in the state, then that will also lead to the imposition of Article 356. And the next is political instability and law and order. So the best example that we have in India is the state of Punjab in 1980s, or the 1960s. We had the secession movement in the northeastern region. So if we have such political instability in the state, or other law and order, for example secessionist movement like that, then that can also lead to the imposition of Article 356. And coming to the approval and the duration of the president rule, the both houses of the parliament has to approve the imposition of Article 356 within 2 months, and the initial duration will be 6 months, and it can be extended up to 3 years with the parliament approval in every 6 months, and it can be extended beyond 1 year, but it needs certain specific conditions. For example, the Election Commission of India is saying that the state is not in a position to carry out, contest an election or carry out the constitutional function. Then in that case, the imposition can extend beyond 1 year. So coming to the effects of the president rule, or the impact of the president rule, first one is the president assumes both the legislative power and the executive power of the state, and governor of the state will act on behalf of the President of India, and the state legislature will maybe dissolved or suspended, and the parliament will make the legislations for the state, and the judiciary will remain independent. That means, like I mentioned, even though the satisfaction of the president under Article 356 of the Indian Constitution is subject to judicial review, therefore the judiciary will remain independent, but the executive power will go to the president, and the governor of the state will act according to the act on behalf of the president, and the state legislature can be dissolved or suspended. That is not necessary all the time, and the parliament will make legislations for the state. And coming to the judicial review, like I mentioned, the judiciary will remain independent. And in the SR Bommai versus Union of India case 1994, and here the Supreme Court upheld that the president rule subject to judicial review. That means the president, the satisfaction of the president that is used in Article 356 is subject to judicial review. That means they have to know that the provision is not misused. Therefore, floor test as the ultimate test of legitimacy. That means the floor test. That means we have to prove that the constitution machinery in the state is failing, or the imposition of Article 356 was necessary, and the malfide use of Article 365 is unconstitutional. This was ruled in the SR Bommai case. And like I mentioned, the misuse, and there are certain controversies related to the imposition of Article 356. For example, the excessive use of the Article 356, especially before 1994. We know that during the time of 1950s, and 1960s, the southern states, especially the Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Punjab in the north, all the states faced more than 5 times they had to face the Article 356. Sometimes it can be politically motivated, rather than the political differences between the central government and the state government sometimes lead to emergency. And judiciary's crucial role in curbing misuse. Yes, the judiciary will remain independent, and that's why the SR Bommai case 1994 held that the government has to prove the legitimacy behind the implementation of the Article 356. That's why the government is subject to floor test, and the president's decision is also subject to judicial review. So in this topic we discussed Article 356, what will be the impact of the imposition of Article 356 or the president rule, and its related controversies, and how the role of the judiciary is preventing the misuse of the Article 356. So based on this, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, which of the following is not an effect of president's rule? Option A, the governor takes over the executive power of the state. Option B, the state legislature is suspended or dissolved. And option C, the judiciary in the state ceased to function. And option D, parliament legislates for the state. So we know that the parliament will legislate for the state, and there is a possibility of the state legislature will be suspended or dissolved, and the governor takes over the executive power of the state. That means he will act on behalf of the president of India. So all the option A, B and D are correct, but option C is wrong. The judiciary in the states will not cease to function. The judiciary will remain to function. Judiciary is independent, and that's why the answer is option C. So with this, we will move to the next. Plan to amend nuclear liability law may enthuse American French firms. The article is taken from the newspaper The Hindu, which is talking about Civil Liability for Nuclear Damages Act 2010. This act. So we know that Civil Liability for Nuclear Damages Act 2010, as per this act, the supplier will be held responsible for any type of nuclear disaster. So this provision is not aligning with the international norms, and that's why it is discouraging the investors. And this article is talking about a potential possibility that the India may amend this Civil Liability Nuclear Damages Act 2010 to attract more investors to invest in the nuclear energy. We know that nuclear energy is a clean energy, and it has a potential to ensure global energy security. But this act is it is acting as a hurdle in the case of India because of this provision. So in this background, let us discuss more about the provisions about the Nuclear Liability Act. So overview of the Civil Liability Nuclear Damages Act 2010. It is enacted in the year 2010. The purpose of this act is providing a legal framework for compensating the victims of nuclear disasters or incidents. So coming to the key provisions under the act, first is the strict no fault liability. That means the operator liable for nuclear damage without any proof or negligence. That means the victims can claim compensation from the operator without proper proof that they are affected. So there is no much formality. And the next is the course of recourse under section 80 under section 17 clause B. That means the operator can seek recourse against the supplier for providing defective equipment or service. And the next is liability cap. The operator liability capped at 1,100 crore, that is approximately $200 million. If the cost is going beyond 1,500, then the government will cover the cost. The central government will cover the cost by providing 300 million from the special drawing rights. And in addition to that, we can also get compensation. International funds like the Convention for Supplementary Compensation of Nuclear Damages. And the next is feature is the insurance requirement. That means operator must secure insurance or financial security even before starting the operation of the nuclear plants. So now we are going to see the difference between the Civil Nuclear Damages Act and the Convention on Supplementary of Compensation for Nuclear Damages. So first we are going to see the difference in the supplier liability. So in the case of the Civil Liability Act, it allows the operator recourse against the suppliers. In the case of CSC, it channels liability exclusively for the operators. And the next difference is a compensation mechanism. The act, the Civil Liability Act is aligning with the tiered system of CSC, but the act includes unique provision like section 17 clause B. So we know that section 17 clause B, the operator can go against the supplier for providing defective equipments or for the fault in the service. So what are the proposed amendments to this Civil Liability Nuclear Damages Act? First one is clarification on supplier's liability. That means defining the supplier's liability to align with the international norms. We know that now the supplier is entirely responsible for any type of nuclear incident. So this has to be enhanced, or this has to be altered to align with the international norms. So this is one of the provisions that prevents the investors. The next is revising or removing section 17 clause B to limit the operator's recourse against the suppliers. So under 17 clause B, the operator can go against the supplier for providing defective equipments or in case any fault in the service. And the next is adjustment of the liability caps. That is reassessing the liability cap for operators and the government to align with the global standards. And the next is extension of claim periods, that is longer time frames for compensation claims to address delayed health issues. So what are the objectives behind the proposed amendments? The first one is aligning with the international norms, and next is attracting the private and foreign investments in India's nuclear energy sector, and the next is facilitating India's ambitious energy goals. We know that nuclear energy is way of ensuring sustainable energy source with less pollution. So therefore, it is also aiming to facilitate India's ambitious energy goals. So in this topic, we discussed the Civil Liability Nuclear Damages Act 2010 and its key features. So based on this, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, why has the CLNDA 2010 been a point of contention in India's nuclear agreements with the foreign countries? Option A, it allows victim to directly sue foreign governments for compensation. Option B, it places liability on suppliers which is not in line with the international nuclear liability conventions. And option C, it mandates the compensation must be provided only by the private insurance firms. And option D, it does not provide any government financial support for nuclear damage claims. The correct answer is option B. It places liability on suppliers. So this is a major issue, right? Yes, that is the correct answer. The correct answer is option B. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's newspaper analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you. Have a nice day.